Welcome into another episode of Instant Reaction presented by Sony, and we have some very exciting news. On Wednesday, the NFL announced the Indianapolis Colts will host the first ever game in Berlin this regular season. The time and date still to be announced, but to get all the perspective on the growth of the NFL in Germany, the impact this game can have, and what to do in Berlin, I am pleased to welcome to Instant Reaction former Colts defensive lineman Björn Werner, who is a Berlin native. He is a presenter and analyst for RTL TV in Germany. They host NFL games over there. He also is the co-founder of Bromance Football in Germany. He hosts a very popular podcast there as well. Björn, thanks so much for taking the time, man. Obviously a really exciting day here in Indianapolis, but what's the mood over there in Berlin today right now?
That's exciting, especially for me, obviously, as a global ambassador, as a former Colt, to have the Indianapolis Colts come over again. Last time in Frankfurt, it was an away game, but now the Indianapolis Colts are hosting this game, and it's very exciting. You know, the whole story for me personally. I grew up in Berlin, made my way over to the U.S., played for the Indianapolis Colts. Now the Indianapolis Colts, many years later, come over, and I play a little role. You you just said that the travel agent. I actually like that a lot. You know, trying to get Colts fans from the U.S. Hopefully excited to come over and visit. At the same time, get German football fans from outside of Berlin to come visit Berlin. It's very exciting. Another step for this game to grow in Germany and in Europe, and I'm excited.
So the Colts in 2024, they were able to get global marketing rights for the German and Austrian markets. So there's been a growing partnership between the Colts and Germany specifically. Obviously, you mentioned, Bjorn, the Frankfurt game in 2023, which was a huge success. One of my favorite moments from that game was seeing you give a big bear hug to Bernard Ryman after the game. That was a really cool moment there. And there's a ton of interest in the Colts coming off of that game. How have you seen, maybe over the last year and a half, the Colts brand grow in Germany? And the second part of that is, what do you think the Colts hosting a game in Berlin will do for the Colts global brand, specifically then in Germany?
First of all, I was the only connection that the Indianapolis Colts had over the last years that was kind of bigger than just maybe a few fans was obviously me being drafted to the Indianapolis Colts, right? So that's why the Colts name was always kind of around. There's some other teams who have the market rights a little longer, and they kind of had, already a strategy to build their brand here in Germany, to continue building out their brand. And the Colts are not late to the party, but they came with four other teams later on. So we have 10 total teams, and now it's kind of like it's in the NFL, right? It's a competition of trying to touch the next NFL fan, because we have a lot of NFL fans who didn't pick a team yet. That was kind of crazy over here, because we kind of on TV. Our job is to get as many new fans to football in general, and then they somehow, with a touching point, with an event activation, they somehow get this feeling of, hey, I should support this team. So having a game here in Berlin, in the biggest city in Germany, and obviously Berlin, everybody in the world knows the city of Berlin, how important it is for the story of the world history, everything. And being in here in this Olympia Stadium, it's a traditional stadium. It's the biggest stadium, and it's going to be exciting. What we, with the Colts and I, especially here in Germany, that's the job I have, right? Helping the Colts spread out in Germany and in Austria. And then we are trying to obviously build up to this game and have on the way get as many Colts fans as possible here in Germany, new fans to join this brand, right? The horseshoe. So it's a perfect opportunity. Obviously, when you have the home game, you can spread out your wings more than the other German market teams. And that's a great opportunity, obviously, just to, at the end of the day, sell more merchandising, right? Sell even more tickets in a bigger stadium, be in the heads of all these football fans who don't have a team yet, to rep this team maybe. And once in a while, maybe they I don't know, a few hundred people after this game say, "Oh, I kind of like the Indianapolis Colts. Somehow I feel like I'm connected to them, and I want to make a trip to Indianapolis." This is kind of like all these crazy stories we see every year with football fans in Germany. Somehow they enter this world of the NFL, and now the goal of those 10 teams being in Germany, the German market teams, is to be the first one to grab them to become an Indianapolis Colts, right? Or a New England Patriots, because that's another team who's obviously here for many years now. So that's the big goal, and that's a huge advantage to have this exciting game because it's the announcement itself that this next game is going to be in the Olympia Stadium was a very big one for the NFL. Roger Goodell always wanted to be back in Berlin after they played a preseason game, I think, the American Bowl 1991, Munich was nice, Frankfurt was nice, but Berlin being in the capital in the stadium is another level. So being the home team, it's very, very special for the Indianapolis Colts and everybody involved.
So, what about Berlin makes it a special destination? I think, probably our listeners, our viewers know a couple of things about Berlin, right? You know about the Berlin Wall. You might know about Carl Lewis in the 1936 Olympics at Olympic Stadium. But beyond that, what about Berlin makes it a special place, and why should people from Indianapolis go to Berlin for this game? Give us your pitch.
Yeah, so I mean, Indianapolis been there a while. It's a big city for a lot of people from Indiana, but it's not as big as Berlin. Berlin is very spread out. There's a lot of things you can do besides the sightseeing, right? The Brandenburger Gate and everything. That's the on top thing. But literally in every district, when you're going to be in Berlin, you can have a different culture. It's so multicultural, like New York, kind of, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's very exciting just to kind of go around the city, and I feel like in every street there's something else you can experience. And it's so big, and you can't even if you stay a week here, you didn't see Berlin. Like you can't see all of Berlin. So there's so many options and things you can do. And especially, I know that Americans like historical buildings a lot, right? History, the European history behind that. There's a lot of that in Berlin still, obviously. Even after Berlin in the World War II got bombed a lot, and then half of the city was destroyed, there's still a lot of things that remember to this history, right? And those today are sightseeing tours. So it's exciting to kind of just see if you never, I remember that a lot of people always told me on my way, 12 years living in the US, man, I need to visit Berlin. Because when you go to Germany, you need to visit Berlin. That's your chance now, supporting the
Mm-hmm.
Indianapolis Colts overseas and have a nice vacation on top of it.
I think that's interesting. You talk about it being almost like every neighborhood is a different feel, kind of like New York. I'm from Chicago. Chicago is very much a city of neighborhoods, and going to like I've been to Munich and I've been to Frankfurt, and both those cities did kind of feel like there's a lot of history in there, obviously in Munich, but it was sort of like I maybe stayed in the city center. So early on here, I know people we don't know exactly when this is going to be yet, but give Colts fans like maybe the cool little spot or the cool little neighborhood that might not be in the city center where all the historic stuff is, where you might be staying, that they should go to and they should experience.
Oh man, there's so many. But one thing is Prenzlauer Berg. That's kind of more like the hipster town, what we call it now, right? So it's kind of like the New Berlin area. Obviously, the central location, it's always the hotspots, right, for tourism. But the more you kind of go outside of that little skirt, there's enough stuff you can do in the low key where, like, hey, this is not where every tourist is at, but it's very nice because that's the hotspot for the Berliners, the Berlin people who live there. So what happened over the last 10 years is that a lot of people just move to Berlin. The cities keep growing, and there's so many new people come to the city, and it constantly changes, and that's the interesting part of it. So I'm from Berlin. When I grew up in the city, I grew up right in the city. It's not recognizable anymore. It's the same spots and it's called the same, but everything changed. Like different type of clientele, different type of people, like new restaurants. It constantly changes, and it's interesting to see that. And yeah, I mean, you have Potsdamer Platz, right? It's in the middle as well, but it's beautiful. You have the Brandenburger Gate. You have Alexanderplatz. This is where you have the big TV tower, in old buildings. So bring a lot of time. You have to see a lot, and I feel like if you're in Munich, you can be in the city center and tour everything like in the day. In Berlin,
Hmm.
you can't do that. You know,
Yep.
you need a few days.
What about the stadium? What can you kind of tell us about Olympic Stadium? Like I kind of mentioned, I know the Carl Lewis in the 1936 Olympics. I know one other thing about Olympic Stadium. It's home to the guy who scored one of my favorite goals for the United States men's national team, John Brooks, who hit that header against Ghana in 2014. I know he plays for Hertha Berlin. But that's about all I got on Olympic Stadium. So what's special about that place?
Yeah, it's kind of the NFL has been playing in London for I don't know how many years, like over 10 years, I feel like. And the Wembley Stadium is like also like the national treasure, the soccer stadium. And it's the same way with the Olympia Stadium. That's the home of so many different events because they have the space around the stadium. So I'm expecting a lot of activities and tailgating thing around the city, which are a lot of a lot of activations from different type of companies and the NFL Germany and the Indianapolis Colts. That's something maybe when I went to Indianapolis in September to commentate their game. That was the first time I kind of see what's happening around the stadium during a game because as a player you don't see that, right?
Mhm.
So there's not a lot of space around that stadium, right? Around the parking lot. So you already have the city, the streets. Olympic Stadium, when you just walk towards it, the view of it is historic. The Olympic Stadium, like the tradition, and you walk in there, you have so much space, and then the old building, you can kind of just already see through the tunnel and see the inside of it because it's like a kind of like a toilet, you know what I'm saying? Because when you go from the streets in, it's like deep inside of it already, right? So when you walk straight in, you're in the middle of it. So it kind of sits in the ground a little bit, and it is so big. It's a very big stadium. Has an opening on the side where the fire is, right? The Olympic fire area. So what's unique about this that a lot of Germans always say it has this blue track around it, around the grass field. So that's why it has a feeling of even bigger, right? So a lot of
Mhm.
soccer fans don't like that, obviously, that because that when you sit down there, like it feels so far away, right? But it gives you for a football team, it gives you a lot more space that you need. The biggest challenge always that like the Allianz Arena in Munich and Frankfurt had that the field was so small, right? With all the football staff on the
Mhm.
sidelines and the field crammed. Now you have enough space, Like for a football team, it's enough that you have enough space. But what's better? It's a blue track, and the Indianapolis Colts coming, it kind of matches. I imagine Blue's gonna do a lot of crazy stuff on that, and have enough space to kind of go crazy and have a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm excited, Very big stadium. It looks still old, the feeling of it's new, but it feels old,
Mhm.
They keep a great job of maintaining it. And I swear on everything. When you sit in there and watch it, you feel the history of it. I can't even explain it.
Mhm.
You just know it's kind of weird feeling knowing when you sit in there and all the history that the stadium has. And it's kind of something like, hey, that's the history of the world, and that kind of makes this game, or like when you're in there, the game a lot more special for some reason.
I think that probably speaks to just like when we as Americans go tour Europe and you see these historic landmarks and you think how many people have seen these, what has happened in front of these, whether you're in London or Paris or Rome or Madrid or Berlin, and I think that's a really neat setting for this game. Now you mentioned it's a big stadium, right? 70,000 about
Over it's even it's 77,000, I think. Like, it's even bigger
77,000.
than that. Yeah, you can max it out a lot. So I
So
feel like that's what I said that this can be the biggest crowd ever for an NFL German game.
yes,
You know,
that's kind of
when
what I
it's
was
sold
getting
out.
at. Is that I mean that's a big stadium, and what have you seen in the growth of the NFL in Germany that tells you, hey, that's probably going to be sold out. They're going to sell every ticket to that game. You're right up in it with RTL, and I mean I saw that your jersey was top 10 in sales in the NFL Germany shop. What about the football culture in Germany will bring not just Colts fans there, but anyone in Germany who cares about the NFL? Hey, I want to go to that game and see it.
Yeah, it's going to be sold out. I'm guaranteeing it to be sold out. The Panthers Giants game was sold out in I don't know 10, 15 minutes. It's for us German fans. We've been waiting so long for a game. The few years when we got that, everybody was like, it doesn't matter what kind of team I'm repping. I want to be at this game because it's an event. like the German football fans see it as an event. And what's crazy about it, like it kind of jumped this game is like once a year our Super Bowl where it jumps outside of the football bubble, where a lot of soccer stars, come visit this game from all of Europe. A lot of celebrities want to be part of this game and just be there because there's always something in Germany, this feeling of, hey, America fascinated by, the big brother. Obviously, everybody knows this, right? On a political view, that America, Germany goes along with each other. And so they'd be part of this game. And everybody wants to be part of it. It's going to be sold out, and I already have people requesting, obviously because it's a Colts, that I can be the list maker and get everybody into the stadium. Which I say I can't get everybody in. I hope I get some tickets from the Colts now, but I'll hopefully working this game and commentating it, so this makes it even more special for me. It's a full circle for me.
Yeah.
I'm being selfish right now in this moment, but for me, this is I mean, it can get crazier than that. If somebody would have told me back in the day when I got drafted by the Colts, right? I thought I'm going to play forever, right? Every NFL player thinks they're going to be the best and all pro and Pro Bowls. It didn't work out. The body didn't give me the chance, and I gave him my all, and that's what it was at the end of the day. Then a long time, there was no connection between the Colts. I just did my thing and moved back a few years later to Germany, back to the family with my wife and my kids, and started this career after the career pushing this game on TV. And now all these years later, I'm a global ambassador for the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are hosting a game in my city, in my hometown, where I grew up watching the NFL Europe in that stadium when I was 12. I was dreaming about being on that field and playing in the NFL Europe back in the day, right? And now I just can kind of not only work it on the Colts side as a global ambassador. Hopefully, I'm gonna work it with as an analyst, which it's never guaranteed they're gonna tell us next year, beginning of next year, who's kind of commentating it. But I'm pretty sure when I'm a global ambassador, that RTL is gonna say you're gonna commentate that. So all these things just coming together is a very special moment already, and it's like another 10 months or 9 months till this game is gonna happen. So I'm excited for this year.
More with Bjorn right after this. This NFL season, feel every hit, every play, every moment with the Sony 1000 XM5 noise-canceling headphones, the official headphones of the Indianapolis Colts. With premium noise cancellation, you're in the zone. No distractions, just pure football. Whether you're in your living room or on the go, never miss a moment with the Sony 1000 XM5 headphones. All right, back here with Björn Werner. And Bjorn, I wanted to ask you about the impact this game can have just on the growth of youth football in Germany, where, I'm sure when you were growing up, maybe it was a little bit hard to find a club team to play for or just friends to talk about football with. How can this game really elevate maybe a pipeline? Because you look at, the Colts have Marcel Dabo on their roster, obviously Bernard Reimann being from Austria, you're from Germany. Just how can this game maybe elevate that youth pipeline of people who are interested in football who then could play football and maybe have a shot at making it to the NFL?
Yeah, that's a great question. Back in the day, it was a lot tougher to make that jump to the NFL. And today it's a lot more international. There's a lot of guys from Europe and Germany who made it since I left. And once the NFL decided to come back to Germany, the cities got involved, right? They had this contract out there and say, hey, we want to play in Germany. Who wants it? Give us a plan, right? So the cities and the politicians had to get involved and get budgets and have put a plan in, or like a whole business plan of getting this game. So I talked to the people of Berlin, for instance, right? When we made this announcement a few weeks back. And there's a lot of money flowing around that they committed over the next years, because over the next 5 years, they're going to have 3 games in Berlin, and they're going to invest in the infrastructure, in the schools, right, to play flag football, awareness, marketing, and all these things is the next step of touching the next Björn Werner in school, and he taking it serious and having the dream of playing in the NFL one day. So Bernard Reimann, like his story, right? He's an offensive lineman. Sometimes the offensive linemen are the unsung heroes. But he, amazing player for the Indianapolis Colts, what he's doing there since he got drafted in the third round. Austria, is proud of him. We need to get his story more out there, get him more in front of the camera. I know not every NFL player, especially offensive linemen, I kind of want to do that because they're so focused on their craft. But especially in the off seasons, it's important for them to speak up, right, and do some stuff, and do a camp in Germany and Austria, and all these things we're trying to do this year. Marcel Darboe the same way, right? Yeah, he's been in the practice squad 3 years in a row, but you know what? In Germany, not many people made it this far as what Marcel Darboe did, right? And even as some fans always say, like, "Oh yeah, he's just a practice squad guy." Just a practice squad guy. He accomplished so much already that other Germans, or a lot of Germans, were dreaming of doing one time, right? Being in the NFL. He is playing a sport that we always love as kids, right? A kids game. We're playing a kids game, right? That's what we always say. And he's getting paid to do that, you know? I know he's thankful, and he's a great guy. Brunner is a great guy. The Colts have two really good character people, you know? And that makes it a lot very important on this journey as with the home game now. We need to get them in front of the camera. We do have to have them out there and tell them and sell the franchise, right? The brand, what the Colts are all about. So
Last one
that
for you
touches the
here.
next generation.
Last one is kind of along those same lines, and you talking about Marcel being a big deal in Germany because not many Germans, will make it even onto a practice squad. Like I think about it as like an American soccer fan where I follow Christian Pulisic, I follow Weston McKennie, but like I am locked in on guys who are in the second division of the English football pyramid because that guy might go play for the U.S. men's national team. How soon do you think it could be for Germany to get a legitimate star in the NFL? Like you mentioned you're getting fans kind of incrementally. This is a longer process to grow the game in Germany, but the talent that Germany has. You were a first round pick. How long until Germany gets a guy who around the league, it's like this guy's legit. He's not just a German guy succeeding in the NFL, but he's a league-wide star.
Well, it's tough, obviously, to predict, right? The What's so tough, American football is a sport where you have to start young and being pushed and being competitive. We don't have the same high school system, right? So we play in clubs, and then you practice twice or 3 times a week. And in the high school, you practice every day during the football season, right? So the competition level is on another level. So we need to find ways, which we have done, that more and more Germans need to go over and play high school football, college football, right? We never had that many people being in the system, but it shows you how tough it is. It doesn't mean just because you have so many people in the system doesn't mean that you get the next superstar. It's hard to get up there, even for Americans. There's 1.4% who make it in the NFL from college football players, and I know how hard it is, right? I've been there, done that. So we had a guy, Sebastian Vollmer, who played for the Patriots, Super Bowl champion, was the starting right tackle for Tom Brady. So he was the superstar during a time where it wasn't as big yet. And he played offensive line again, right? So the thing is, offensive line never get the love they should. Right now, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Detroit Lions, who's like half German. His mother is German. So obviously, we Germans kind of jump on that and say, hey, he's a little German. But yeah, we are still waiting for the next first round pick, for the next starter in Germany. Bernard Reimann is giving that for the Austrian fans to cheer on right now. So he's doing a great job for a small country like this, having a starting left tackle in the NFL and doing a pretty good job. So yeah, we in Germany we're waiting for the next star to become how the faster we kind of build this infrastructure to get more people or continuously filling the pipeline in the US and get them over and support them there, the faster it's going to happen. But right now, it's still like, even though we never had as many people over there than ever before, there's no support. There's no clear path here in Germany with an organization where it's the NFL may be doing it, you know? The NFL kind of just put stuff into the system, right? And they're trying to build this flag football system, but we need a really like a hands-on identifying at a young age and push it, right? And help them with the paperwork, the visa stuff. I'm telling you, it's a lot of headache for a German or an international person to go over to play college football, right? With all the stuff that you have to fill out and get through, it's not that easy. So if we can kind of stop that, and support in this area, maybe we gonna be a lot better off in the next few years.
Well, that's great perspective. Bjorn, thanks for joining us here on this episode of Instant Reaction presented by
Thank
Sony.
you for
You can
having me.
follow You can follow Bjorn on Instagram. You can listen to the Football Bromance podcast, which I hear is quite popular over in Germany. And for all of our international fans maybe watching this, definitely go check out everything that Bjorn does for RTL and all of his media outlets. Bjorn, thanks again so much. We will see you in 2025 in your hometown.
Yeah, see you soon, huh?
All right. Thank you. All right, Colts fans, our regular season is over, but these Sony noise-canceling headphones were huge for me on the road all year. The premium noise cancellation helped me stay locked in when I was recording my podcast with Bill after games, whether I was transcribing interviews on the plane or just listening to music and hanging out while on the road. These things came up big for me all year. These are my favorite headphones I've ever owned. The Sony 1000 XM5 noise-canceling headphones are the official headphones of the Indianapolis Colts.